Good morning, grade 9 students. Today we will continue the same chapter, chapter 5, DC voltage, and in this video we will cover part 2. Concerning the objectives, at the end of this video you are supposed to measure the voltage across a DC generator and receptors using a voltmeter. Recognize the unit of voltage in SI, deduce the law of voltage in series and parallel circuits. Use an ammeter to measure the current, deduce the law of intensity of the current in series and in parallel, and recognize the unit of intensity in SI, and finally find the current and voltage in a complex circuit. If you please, you have to prepare a notebook and a pen in order to write some notes and to practice on some applications. As I recall, we have seen that electricity is of two types. We are interested in studying current electricity, starting with DC voltage. Then we learned something about current represented by I, measured in amperes, and which is actually the flow of electric charges. These charges to flow need a pushing factor, which is the voltage represented by U and measured in volts. For the current to flow, we have to talk about an electric circuit, which mainly consists of generators and receptors. Circuits could be of three types: closed circuit, open circuit, and short circuit. Concerning the flow of electric charges, they flow from the negative terminal to the positive terminal of the dry cell, while if we want to talk about the current, it's by convention from the positive terminal to the negative terminal of the dry cell. Concerning the grouping of components, we can group them in series or in parallel. In this video, we're going to learn about voltage. We're going to have more exciting details about voltage and current, and then we will talk about some laws related to voltage and current in series grouping and in parallel grouping. Starting with voltage, as we've said before, it's the pushing force, it's the pushing factor that leads to a flow of charges in the same direction. If we check this figure, you can see how this battery is providing the push for the electric charges in order to flow. Once we talk about voltage, voltage is attained by having a potential difference, and once we talk about difference, we have to talk about 2 points. For example, when we talk about the voltage which is given by a dry cell, so we say that it's the voltage across the terminals of the dry cell, the potential difference between the terminals of the dry cell. Similarly, if you want to talk about the voltage across the terminals of a lamp, so we have to talk about the terminals, the 2 points of the lamp. The symbol is U, the unit of measurement is volts. Concerning the unit, sometimes we use it in volts, other times we can express it in millivolts. So from volts to millivolts we multiply by 1000, and if we want to convert from millivolts to volts, we have to divide by 1000. Concerning the instrument which can measure the voltage, we can use a multimeter that acts as a voltmeter. Here is the multimeter. And concerning the symbol of a voltmeter,